But Cohen, you were subpoenaed by Donald Trump's lawyers, including Alina Habba, in connection, and a bunch of other lawyers in connection with this fraud lawsuit. You have the subpoena document. So for those watching, you can actually, are you allowed to hold it up? Am I?
Absolutely. So about a couple of days ago, I get a phone call. I had some folks over visiting, and I get a phone call from downstairs stating that there's somebody here to see me. I have no idea who it is, and I have no interest in going downstairs to meet somebody who, of course, I have no clue who they are. And so I said, well, who is this and what's that? Well, he's a private investigator. I go, oh, private investigator, very good. What can I do for you? So he then proceeds to tell me that he has something that he needs to give to me. So I said, sir, are you a process server or are you a private investigator? There's obviously a difference. You can call yourself whatever you want, but are you a process server? And so he says, yes, I'm here to deliver papers to you. I said, well, that's great. Why don't you leave them downstairs for me and I'll get them later. Leave it with a doorman or somebody. And he said to me, well, I can't do that. I said, well, then take them with you and enjoy your night because I'm not coming down right now. I'm busy. And so he ended up leaving them anyway. And this is what he left me, about a 230-page series of pages. And the truth is, the bulk of the document happens to be the New York Attorney General complaint, which you could go online and you can see it. That's attached as the appendix. That's Exhibit 1. And one of the interesting things is when I first looked at it, because I just took a quick glimpse, obviously the caption reads Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of New York, and it's captioned People of the State of New York by Letitia James, Attorney General of the State of New York as plaintiff, versus Donald Trump Jr., and as you can see, a whole slew of individuals that are named at the bottom. I was like, boy, that's really kind of unusual that the Attorney General's office, after crediting me for starting the case, would subpoena me. Why not just contact me? I haven't really needed subpoenas in the past, other than the very first time when I was subpoenaed by the Senate Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. After finally sitting down a couple hours later and taking a look at the document, what I realized is that the document was not sent to me by Tish James's office, but rather by the multitude of law firms, and I think it's either 5 or 6 law firms that are representing Donald Trump or Donald Trump affiliated entities. Now, some of the comments that I see popping up every now and then from individuals, including the haters that for some unknown reason have decided to join our political beatdown brigade group. And again, I don't understand it, but at least
they can't get enough Cohen. They can't get enough of you.
That's true, but the beauty is that maybe they'll learn something if they would just put aside their animus. When he says things like, he was found guilty of all charges. Why could we, or how could we possibly believe him? Well, the same way that the whole world basically believed me when I testified live before the House Oversight Committee, because everything that I have always said, the only one who's ever questioned my veracity happens to be the Southern District of New York. And if you read Revenge, my book, you'll understand exactly why they did that, because so many of the prosecutors that were involved in my case, including the judge, were all in on the whole thing. And as you know, not even from my book, from Jeffrey Berman's book, where he came out and he stated in his own book that he was being pressured by Maine Justice to do certain things on cases that the SDNY was handling, including the case against Michael Cohen. So why the SDNY did that? Well, because they don't really care about anybody. They believe themselves to be the sovereign district of New York, and most of them have already gone on for 10-figure salaries and jobs. Like, for example, Kazami over at Guggenheim Partners. I mean, a place that he has no qualification to be at, but making an absolute fortune. So putting all of that aside, why should they believe me? Because everything that I have told whether it's the Mueller team, the 8 different congressional committees, the New York Attorney General, the District Attorney, has all been proven, whether by documentary evidence or by corroborating testimony, has all been proven to be truthful, accurate, and relevant to their investigation. And that's the exact line that was used by the Mueller team when they were quoting me in their final report. Second most quoted person other than by Don McGahn. So that's probably the reason. And I am certain that as a witness, I will be impeachable. And by the way, just so people know, and again, it goes to show that that individual did not read Revenge and that just wants to remain ignorant and disinformed. Why? Because I don't know, maybe it adheres to whatever position that he wants to take. And a position of inaccuracy and the promotion of inaccuracy really makes somebody as ignorant as the person who started the whole thing, and that, of course, being Donald J. Trump. So rest assured, if and when I testify, whether it's before a grand jury, whether it's for the trial of the New York Attorney General or the District Attorney, when I am called up, I give you my word, and I assure you, as you all are here today, that everything that comes out of my mouth will be backed up by documentary evidence or by corroborating testimony, and it will be unimpeachable. That's for certain.
And Cohen, why do you think that Trump's lawyers subpoenaed you? By the way, is it a subpoena for deposition or documents or both? Let me ask you that question.
Yeah, so it's only a subpoena for what's called ad testificanda, meaning to come in and to testify, to lay aside all business matters prior and to come in and be deposed. First of all, their subpoena is, in my opinion, is invalid. I am not a party to this matter, and so if you're asking somebody to come in and to lay aside their life, their business, and so on, in order to provide testimony for a deposition, you do have to state with specificity the reason why that individual needs to come in. I'm not so sure that their subpoena is even valid, and we will find that out if, in fact, I make a motion to quash the subpoena, which I'm probably likely to do. If they want to ask me questions, they can do it on cross-examination, if, in fact, I am even brought in to testify before for the case, for the trial brought by the New York Attorney General's, office. We'll see then. But just to come in and to give, testimony, I know exactly what these 5 law firms are going to do. They're going to do exactly what the Republicans tried to do to me each and every time that I testified before one of the congressional committees. They're going to try to just keep hammering you and saying stuff and trying to use it to impeach your credibility and so on. They failed before, they would fail again. But I'm not so sure that this time that I need to acknowledge and to acquiesce to the likes of Alina Hababa, right, and to Robert and Roberts, the law firms that are representing the various different Trump entities. I don't see whether or not that there's a benefit, and I happen to that day be busy, so I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to lay aside what I need to do on that specific day in order to handle their request for a subpoena, considering each and every one of them have just been so forthright with the American people in terms of honoring subpoenas. I'm just not sure what I want to do right now, and I'm taking it under advisement by counsel.
Well, if you do decide to show up, given that I am a lawyer, I'd love to be present in the room as a co-counsel. Just, I could help with some notes. I could help your co-counsel. So consider that. In terms of the date they set it for, for personal safety reasons, I don't think you need to give the specific date yet, but have they said it this month? Is it next month? Can you give us a degree of specificity close to when they've set it for?
Yeah, it's around mid-March. I think I already stated the day they want is March 10th. Where, I can't tell you, but it is dated for March 10th, I believe. Hang on one second. And yeah, it is. It's March 10th.
And so in connection with the subpoena to testify, are there also documents they want you to bring, or is it just show up and testify?
Show up and testify. I mean, just simply that would be a ducis tecum subpoena, but this is just an ad testificandum.
Well, we will follow those developments there. I'm sure you will give the brigade the first look at what your decision making is ultimately going to be, if you're going to move to quash that. And as you said, you're willing to testify at the trial. As you said, if they want to ask me on cross-examination, but they haven't set forth in any specificity. I doubt they've even paid you witness fees. I'm sure there's a number of other defects with the subpoena that they gave you. But why make it easier on them when they're not going through the correct procedural process? And and if you're called in by the New York Attorney General's office, you're going to be happy to testify at that proceeding, regardless.
You know what, Ben? You just gave me an idea. Maybe what we do is I would have you come in as co-counsel in terms of representing me for this deposition, and then we'll have Salty come in with a camera. We'll videotape it. Maybe we'll even live stream it. I mean, wouldn't that be something for our political beatdown brigade? You get to watch Cohen in action like you did before. I mean, I think we're onto something here.
And by the way, that can be arranged because the depositions are presumptively a public proceeding. There's no reason why they could deny access to the public. What I've actually have done before in depositions where I've had lawyers across the country on a case, the court reporting service and the videographer just basically, streams the same way we're streaming right now, the video deposition, the same way you look right now to the public. We could stream it live on the MeidasTouch YouTube channel. And then, not a bad idea.
That idea is right.
Let's talk about the Dominion.
We'll talk about that offline, because I think we're onto something here.
I think we're onto something. Could you imagine? I mean, okay, I won't give all the ideas away, but we'll talk about it offline.
The best part of waking up? MAGA Tears in my cup. Check out the new MAGA Tears mug, available now at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com. It's 100% union made right here in the USA. I know I'm not tired of winning yet. How about you? Get yours today.